Have you ever noticed how you can walk into the exact same situation on 2 different days and feel completely different about it?
Absolutely. One day you feel confident, calm, and in control. And then the next day, it's like anxiety and doubt and just overthinking takes over.
Yeah, it's the same life, but a different experience.
Yeah, and the truth is, it's not your life that changed. It's the channel that you're tuned into. It's your mindset.
Yes. So I want you to picture this. Your mindset is like a radio in your car. And you have some preset stations. And I don't know about you, but I have like a couple different country stations. I have Sirius, and so I have some oldies channels, like all this different music.
Mine's the same.
Yeah. And so, we walk in there and get in your car and think about the station you're on?
No. I don't ever remember where I left it.
No. You just get in and you just start listening to what you're doing. And I think that is what is happening in our lives when we have those. Why do I have this experience? Like
completely different.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the channel you were tuned into that you didn't even know you were tuned into.
Yep.
It's a beautiful chaos, this roller coaster ride. The ups, the downs are spinning all around inside. It's a beautiful chaos. Sometimes I love, sometimes I hate. Have to pause, renegotiate, but with gratitude I appreciate this beautiful chaos.
Welcome to Beautiful Chaos. I'm Tammy Ramsey.
And I'm Staci Miller.
And today's episode is
how to create the life you want and change the channel.
Yeah. So I was listening to some other podcast actually. So this is what kind of geared me and made me think of this. And I want you to know, we were talking earlier off camera about the difference between like energies and God, and you can actually have, those are both tied together 100%. I remember telling somebody I was doing mindset work. Yeah. I was doing a speaking engagement that was about mindset. And this person told me, oh, that's bad stuff. That's like, bad voodoo. You can't, if you believe in God, you can't believe in mindset. And I'm like, I think there's a miscommunication, because mindset is really just the settings in your mind.
Right.
What are you, like with the radio station, what station are you tuned to? Are you tuned to negative?
Well, it's honestly the same as saying, like, you shouldn't have goals because there's nowhere in the Bible where it talks about having goals or whatever. Yeah. It used to be a long time ago that people would say you either believe in science or you believe in religion, but you can't believe in both, which is wholeheartedly untrue. Many scientists have actually come to God in order, because they were in a process of like disproving God. And then in that process of scientifically trying to disprove God, they went, we get to a spot where we can't explain it anymore. Yeah. And then all of a sudden we realize that God clearly exists, but we can't have science without God. God created our bone structure and the way that our blood flows and all of these neat things that make us very unique. Or he created the atmosphere and the trees and the, Genesis. So we know that God created all of these things. And so please know that when we're talking about things like mindset, and maybe there may be a new agey type term, frequencies and things like that, we are all saying this with the idea that God is the underlying of all of these things, and that he is still the one guiding us, and it'll be interwoven throughout this conversation.
It will. And what this is like he's the main layer, and so many of us forget. I forget to pray when I'm having issues.
Yeah.
I struggle with something, and it could be days that I'm like really just in a bad space in my head with mumbling over whatever. And then I go, oh, why didn't I go to God and pray and have him help me through this situation? So I think that, he's always at the base, and he's waiting for us to figure out that we need him.
Right.
And then our brains, though, because like the last episode, who are we listening to? Who's the narrator?
Right.
What station are you tuned to?
Right.
Are you listening to your parents, your family,
your Bible, your friends, some other weird teaching, something you've heard from a podcast that's coming from everywhere.
Yeah. And sometimes things that are going on in our mind are things that are from trauma in our lives at some point. Mm-hmm. So there are moments in our lives that shape how we see the world, even if we don't realize it at the time. And I think that especially when things happen at a young age, sometimes we don't even remember it, but our body remembers it. And
especially when it's something big or painful or confusing, but we will still experience that somehow through our pain instead of maybe through our mindset.
Right. And we create the meaning around those incidences.
Right.
Just like you can have two kids in the same household. Mm-hmm. And you can think that you're providing as a parent the best for your children that you can do.
Right.
And then you have out of those kids, one thinks their childhood was crappy, and the other one thinks their childhood was great. Mm-hmm. And you, as a parent, feel like, well, I created these. I
definitely parented exactly the same with both kids, which we don't do that either. Yeah. You know, we might think that we do, but our kids are also pre-programmed with personalities and, you know, different ways that they want to live their life. And so, two kids will grow up in the same house with two completely different experiences.
Yeah. And it's formed on, you know, things that happened to that child. Like, you know, maybe there's an injury that was sustained, or maybe it's something that's going on at school with the people that they're exposed to. They're finding people aren't safe.
Right. Or they start believing that they're not enough about their situation.
Right. They can't trust whatever's going on.
Or we'll put walls up and decide that we need to protect ourselves from different situations or people.
Yep. So then those become in our brain like preset stations, those beliefs that we create around things that happen in our life.
Right. But much like our last podcast, so we're changing some of the wording, but this concept is the same and we're definitely diving deeper. But years later, you might be in a completely different situation, but you're still tuned into that old channel. And maybe it's set off by something specific, or maybe it's just something that you default to in certain situations.
Yeah. And a lot of the times we don't even know because we're not questioning it. We just think whatever pops into our head and we just believe it.
Right. And we just assume it's true.
Right. And then, but there's something that we want you guys to hear. Just because a thought shows up doesn't mean it's true.
Absolutely. Yeah. It just means that it's something familiar or something that, like the rut, you know?
Yes.
Tammy taught me this a long time ago, but when you're trying to memorize something or you're trying to create a new habit, you're trying to create a new skill, it's like a dog creating a rut in the fence line when they're running a fence line. And so you have that like repetitiveness. So you can do that same thing with the negativity. If you're always focusing on the negative and things, you create like a permanent indent in your brain of go straight to that negativity. Yes. So we're going to rewire that. We're going to try and make that rut a positive thing.
Yes. And it can be done.
Absolutely.
Yes. So what do we do if we want to create a different life?
Well, we start with being aware of where we're at in our life and where we're putting our energy and where that's all at.
And we start questioning ourselves when we're in situations or when those thoughts come up and you have to say, well, what channel am I on now?
Right. Is this fear talking or insecurity, or is it confidence or love? Because hopefully we're leaning more towards the latter, or eventually getting ourselves to where we can.
Yeah. And a lot of it is, there's a book, another book. It's by Kim Fisk, and it's called The Monster Under the Bed. Mm-hmm. And she talks about that, in part of it, she does talk about the monster under the bed. There's constantly a monster under your bed in your mind. Yeah. And you don't even realize that it's there half the time, but it's there. Mm-hmm. And it's this underlying thinking. But she gives this great description of it in a car. You're riding down the road and your monster in the back seat that's negative says, whatever, you can't drive. Yeah. You're a terrible driver. Right. And you have to go, I'm going to turn this station now, and you know what, you get in the back seat, stay back there, and don't backseat drive, because I'm driving and I'm confident with what I'm doing. Right. So understand yourself, and understanding your personality it was a great help to me. I started out with the color code. I liked it because it was simple, and once you understand that pretty much you have what am I? Thank you.
Extrovert.
Extrovert, yes.
Got it.
Okay.
And I'm an introverted extrovert.
Yeah. And I'm just totally extrovert. So I think that, there's lots of things that are with each of our personalities that we will have some similarities, but there's a lot of our own things, a lot of our own strengths and our own weaknesses. And I think for me, it was nice to see all the good things. Okay. High energy, creative. And it was really good for me to see that I am scatterbrained.
Yeah.
I am disorganized.
Right.
That is just part of my personality. Do I have to accept it? Mm-hmm. No. I can create a strength out of it. I can start making lists and try to be,
And just to be clear, I think that we label these things in 100 different ways, right?
Yeah.
So you read about the color code system that color codes your personality, and you said, I am all of these things and this sounds accurate. Now let me build some strengths out of these weaknesses.
Right.
Some people will read a horoscope and do the same thing, because as an Aries, I'm a fire sign. I definitely live in that, and I know that I can be fiery, and I can get, kind of worked up pretty easily about certain situations. And I know that there's a lot of things that are very true about what my horoscope says my personality type should be. Yeah. But then you also can read the 5 love languages.
Yes.
And you can say, this person has their love language is this, and my love language is this. So I need to give this love to this person, and I want to receive this love this way. But in the end, we're all talking about the same kind of things, which is just identifying where your personality lies and what your strengths and weaknesses are, because you can't fundamentally change the core of who you are. Right. But you can modify, like she's saying, well, I'm scatterbrained, and now I'm aware of that, and I know that that's a personality trait that I possess, so I'm going to do better about making lists and organizing and structuring my day differently. Right. And so, but in the end, we're all saying the same things. We just label them differently.
Yeah, there's truth to that. And what we need to focus on is, what do I want to create in my life? Mm-hmm. and understand that I'm wired a certain way. Mm-hmm. I've created ruts in my brain based on my upbringing, mm-hmm. my exposure to people that I went to school with, whatever, whatever has formed you as a person. Right. So you can get rid of the ruts. Yeah. By creating new paths.
Absolutely.
And you do that by creating better habits, like you're saying, like we're talking about, like making a list, or like taking those weaknesses that you feel are weaknesses, mm-hmm. and trying to build them in a better way.
Right. And so if we tie it back to the title of the episode, we're talking about manifestation, and manifestation is a big scary word that I think that people attach to a lot of different things. Yeah. And so it might be really, really a positive word for some people to hear, and other people might hear that and go, whoa, it's kind of weird, like voodoo stuff, right? But if we think about what manifestation really is it's visualizing your goals. Yes. So it's creating vision board. Because if you create a vision board and you say, by the end of the year, I want to have this house or this job or this vacation. I think vacation is actually the best example, because if I put up on a wall that I want to go to Disneyland within a year, then I'm always going to think about that I have a goal to go to Disney, I have a goal to go to Disney, and then I'm going to be working towards that goal, and then I'm going to be thinking about it all the time, and then I'm going to put money towards it, and then I'm going to put deposits towards it, and you do, because you're aware of it constantly. If it's way back in the back of your mind, well, someday I'd like to go to Disney, you're never going to go, But if you manifest it, meaning you've put it into the universe, you've put it into the forefront of your mind. Now it's something you think about all the time. You've changed your background on your phone to a picture of Disney, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
But you're constantly bringing it to the forefront. Then it is what your focus is. Where your focus is where your energy goes, or whatever that
Where your
quote
focus
also is.
flows, your energy goes.
That's it.
Yep.
Perfect. And so it's that
Beautiful.
same idea that we're manifesting these positive things in our life because we're just constantly thinking about them and making them goals. I can't graduate from college if I didn't start thinking about it, manifest that, continue to think about it to the point where I made a phone call and then made another phone call and then filled out a paper and then filled out another paper and then eventually had financial aid and then eventually was registered for classes and then bam, I'm a student. And then it was just easy to just keep going. But it is its own form of manifestation as well. So I just think we all need to be very open to what we're really saying about manifestation.
Yeah. And you can, so I'm doing this thing where I've got a journal and I write in my journal every day. This is day 3. Sorry, just started.
Wow.
It's very fresh.
Very new.
So I've always done the 3 things that you're grateful for. I wake up first thing in the morning and I'm like, these are the 3 things I'm grateful for. And I prayed for, and thank God for everything. And then I sort of manifest what kind of day I'm going to have. But I never wrote it down before. So now I'm writing it down. So I'm writing down in this journal 3 things that I'm grateful for first thing in the morning. And then I give 2 confirmation. No, what is it?
Affirmations?
Well, it's how my intentions. I do 2 intentions for the day.
Yep.
And it's usually like one that's personal to me and then one towards the world. Like how I want to be. Like I'm hanging out with Staci today, shooting podcasts. So my intention is to be upbeat, to be loving and kind and enjoy our time together. Like that's, and then at the bottom I go, and I'm going to be, I do my affirmations.
Yeah.
I am a successful author. 1.5 million in book sales. I am a successful podcaster. Staci and I are making 1.5 million. That's what I'm putting out there.
1.5 is good. I like
because it's a total of 3. I'm not trying to be too greedy.
No, sure.
I don't know.
Absolutely.
But so I'm manifesting. That's my form of manifesting. What? So then you can take it a step further, though. Now we've put it out in the universe. You take it, you write it down, because I'm sure, like you're saying, you create a vision board, and you make these things, and it is amazing if you do a vision board. All the things that you put on there. If you look back in a year or 2 years, you look back and you're like, "Yep, did that, did that, did that, did that," and it's like I put it down. I thought about it, but then it was out of my mind, and these things happened. But it wasn't.
You didn't realize it wasn't out of your mind, but it was.
It was.
Yeah, it was definitely still in the forefront because you put so much effort into deciding what those goals were going to be, cutting out those pictures, getting them on there, making this effort, and so it does put it into your forefront.
Yeah, and you're continually thinking about it. So the other thing they say is if it's something that you're really trying to create in your life, then you can also visualize yourself in, like for me it was, and I don't know why this came up, but you and I, you know how you get off an airplane? We're waving.
Here we go.
Yeah.
To paparazzi.
We're waving to all our fans. Yeah, I don't know. And we're in summer attire. Okay. So we're somewhere nice and warm.
I hope we're getting off the plane in Hawaii.
That would
be waving
fabulous.
To all the beautiful women who are ready to put like a flower lei on
our
leis
on.
Can we do that?
Yes, we could do that. Let's manifest that. But seriously, if you and then you think to yourself, how do I feel standing there with my best friend? We are successful at what we're doing. How does that feel? And I feel so full of love and excitement. So, and that's going to tie more into it.
Well, and we take it down a little bit to something different, I guess. I don't know if it's necessarily down a notch or not, but one thing that I've done in the past is I am skinny.
Yes.
And I'm going to eat like I'm skinny.
Yes.
And I'm going to do the things that skinny people do. And I'm using skinny. I mean, I know that there's some negative connotations to that word, but like a healthy weight. Mm-hmm. But for me, it was easy to say in my head, like, I'm already skinny and I'm eating like a skinny person, and I'm working out like a skinny person, and I'm making the choices that a skinny person would make. Because if you're doing that every single day, then eventually your mind will catch up, or your body will catch up to your mind, and you will be doing those things. If you do the same thing and you say, I'm a really kind person, and I do nice things, and I want to be calm and kind in these situations, and you're saying that all the time, then you're going to start reacting calmer to other things. Yes. But if you negative talk, and for those of us who know, because we've all been there, and you say, well, I'm just already overweight, I might as well eat the donut, or I'm already overweight, I might as well not go to the gym again today, or gosh, I'm such a brat and I'm always mean to people, or I always say the wrong thing.
Might as well just go ahead and
say the wrong thing, and you will continue to be overweight, unhealthy, and all these things that you constantly are feeding into your narrative all day long.
Yeah, 100%. And that one thing that I have worked on is because remember we did the episode where it says, don't say I go to the gym, say I am an athlete.
Yeah.
So I like that
I'm a gym rat.
Yes, I'm not.
That's a good thing.
I'm not learning to play the guitar. I'm a guitarist.
Right.
Like already seeing yourself. I'm an author. Mm-hmm. We're podcasters. Yeah. Well, we really are, but we're successful podcasters.
We're doing the work.
We're doing the
one
work.
way or the other.
Hard. Hey, and by the way, we have these cute mugs. Oh, where'd your mug go?
I finished my coffee and I set it down. I'm sorry.
She did. So we have these beautiful chaos. Looking at it, has like the sound.
Our cute little caricature.
Yes. So we will be giving these away. If you would like to share an episode with a friend, comment, we will put you into a drawing. Mm-hmm. And at the end of every month, we're going to start drawing a name out of the hat.
Yep.
And give away a mug.
We'll probably draw your name right out of the mug, actually.
Oh,
fun.
That's a really fun way to do it. So, anyway, so training your brain. Let's go back to this is training your brain. We're manifesting our future, how we want our life to be.
Right.
And that is a way of training your brain by just visualizing it, becoming it, having those feelings. You're going to create those paths. And what do you do when the negative dog running on the fence has already got a rut going on? What do? You just quiet that dog down. Calm down. Just calm down. Mm-hmm. I don't have to be in that rut anymore. I don't have to be on that path.
Right.
I don't have to hear those negative voices. I can change the channel.
Yes.
And I can choose to reset my presets.
Yes, I like that. Reset your preset.
And before we go on, we'll take a minute and give a shout out to our sponsors. This episode of Beautiful Chaos is sponsored by Sarah Nova. I've been using their micro needling infusion anti-aging kit for about 6 weeks now. And honestly, while editing our podcast videos, I've noticed my skin looking healthier, smoother, and some of my fine lines are definitely softening. And those saddlebags along my jawline that were starting to form have started to tighten up. What I love most about Sarah Nova is that it's simple to use. You can use it at home. It's non-evasive. And Sarah Nova even offers a refund policy, which makes trying it a little less intimidating. So if you want to check it out yourself, you can use my code at sarahnova.com/Tammy, all capitals, TAMMY 01873.
Welcome back. Thank you for listening, and we're so appreciative to our sponsor.
Yes.
And now getting back to where you were.
Yep, we are talking about resetting your presets because we do get to choose our channels just like in a radio station or your stereo, I mean.
Right.
You might not get to choose, maybe you don't get to choose what car you're driving because your parents brought it for you way back when.
Right.
And you haven't been able to afford a car, but you have a radio in your car.
Yep.
So you can choose what stations that you listen to. Mm-hmm. And if there are presets on there, you can reset those channels to what you choose. And that's the same way with our brains and with our life.
Yeah.
Just because we had a crappy childhood, because no child comes through childhood unscathed.
No, we all mess up.
We all have. Our parents did the best they could do with the information they had.
And we did the best we could with the information that we had, and hopefully we did a little bit better than they did. Right. And then I can't wait to see when our kids could, well, you are already seeing it, but when I get to see my kids be better parents than I was, because they will inevitably do better than I did.
Yes. And
all my kids they will mess their kids up too, just like we all do.
That's right. That's right.
That's how it goes.
So some things that we can do to help change those are to think about what you want your life to feel like. Because I don't think it's about, sure, you can visualize, you can manifest and say, well, I want to drive a Porsche, I want to live in a big fancy house. But for me, and I think for you, it's not about materialistic things. No. It's about, like, I'm always thinking, what does God want me to do? Yeah. Where does God want me to be at this time? I always say a prayer before we do podcasts, before I write a podcast, and say, hey, what is it that you want me to say? What speak through me and help Staci and I to provide information that helps someone else become the best version of themselves. Right. So how do we do that, and what do we do? It's all about practice, and it's not going to be perfect. Right. Right?
Absolutely.
Like, ever.
Life's messy. You know, I think I find 100 different ways to bring this silly quote into a podcast on any given time. But there is so much truth to it. I don't play the lottery. Let me be really clear. I never play the lottery. But you have people who will always say, oh, I wish I could win the lottery. Oh, I wish I could win $1 million. Well, you can't win if you don't play. Right? And it's the same thing when it comes to this. If you really want a new job, you can't get a new job if you don't apply for new jobs, if you're not out actively seeking new jobs or improving your resume somehow in order to make yourself qualified for that job.
Yeah, like going to get more education, more training so that you're more qualified.
Right, yes. Or I want, like, I'm single, but I really want a great boyfriend. You're not going to get a great boyfriend if you're not putting yourself out there somehow.
Or you're not a great person. Say you're not your healthiest, best self.
You can't attract great if you're not putting out great already. Yes. And so it's just that same idea. And so when we tie it back to manifesting, you can't manifest or like wish for success if you're not doing anything every day to be successful. Right? Like, we can't be successful podcasters if we never would have started a podcast. Right. And so now we're just waiting for the successful part to come in. But in the meantime, we're just going to keep plugging out the work, or like you work on your book all the time. Yeah. And so you can't be a successful author if you didn't have anything already written. But one day you will be a successful author because you're putting in the work now, and it's going to go out at some point. And so whatever that idea is, or that goal is that you have for yourself, remember that you can't just go, I'm manifesting success, and then not do anything to try and make success happen. Yeah. But the idea of manifestation is that, let's say this is success, this item that I'm holding. And I say, I want to manifest success. And then I put it way over here where I'm never going to see it again. Well, then I'm never going to find success. But if I put it right here, and it's what I see all day, and it's what I have to see through to get to the next thing, and what I'm looking at first thing when I wake up, that's a visualization of what manifestation is.
Yes, that was a really good one. No, yeah, that totally made it very clear. Well, that's why, like they say, when I was health coaching, I would say, put your goals where you want to be, not even your goal. You're like your I ams. I am a healthy person. I am, whatever your goal is, you stick that on your mirror on a sticky note so you see it every morning. Right. So that you can work towards becoming it. And I also want to say, if you're praying, because praying is a way of manifesting, because you're praying and you're asking God to help you to make this thing happen. But God helps those who help themselves. Yeah. So you have to, just God like she says, we have to make those steps.
And put that opportunity in front of you. But if you don't take that opportunity, right? Like, he'll put the door in front of you. You have to open the door.
What's the one about the flood comes and a guy's standing on his house and he prays to God and says, "Oh, please send me some help. Get me out of here." And a girl floats by on a tree limb and she says, "Here, jump on." Nope. I'm waiting for God to help me. Yeah. And then next there's a guy in a boat and a rescue team and nope. I'm waiting for God to help me. And then a helicopter comes. I mean, like, dude. And then he drowns.
I was going to say, and then I think he drowns and goes to God and says, why didn't you help me? And he's like, I sent you a girl on a tree limb. I sent you a boat. I sent you a helicopter. You wouldn't take any of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like that.
But we're all guilty of
we are.
that. But like I said, God will put the door in front of you.
Yep.
You have to open it. And maybe you even have to find the key to open it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's where it comes with, God's going to give you the new job, but if you didn't give yourself the skills to be successful at that job by going to school or learning a new training or learning a new skill, like, that's the key, right? So if you don't go get the key, you're never going to get the door open. But God gave you the door.
Yeah.
So you just got to figure out how to open it.
Yeah, exactly. So I want you to know, so the book I'm writing is titled, Why Not Me? And one of the stories that I talk about is I was working at a credit union and I made a loan for this gal. She was fabulous. We hit it off. And she sends me a single rosebud the next day and says, "This bud's for you and we have an opening I'd love to interview."
Kid.
So I'm like, oh, and it's for Idaho 8 television station. And I'm like, I've got I don't know anything about this position.
Right.
I don't have any sales.
I've been have this skill set.
Right. I'm all the negative talk.
Right.
I'm like, I'm a loan officer. But then I was like, but you know what? Why not me?
Yeah.
Why not just go and try? Obviously, she sees something. So
sure.
Why not? So I go and I end up getting the job. And even after an interview where I interviewed with her boss, who was like 6'2", shoulders this wide. He was dressed in a Western shirt and his big old cowboy boots.
So he was dressed up?
Yes. And he towers over me and shakes my hand. And I could tell he's puffing his chest out. And, and I'm just like, I'm just going to be me because I can take it or leave it. I'm
Tammy.
like, hi. Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't care. And he goes and sits down in the chair, throws his feet up on the desk.
Perfect.
Puts his arms back like this, and he's asking me these questions. And I'm just like, yeah, yeah, oh, yeah. And I could do that. Oh, I love people. I'm a people person.
Yes.
And after that, when he hired me, he goes, did you know I wasn't trying to intimidate you? And I went, yeah. But that's not going to change me and how I behave.
Absolutely.
So that was, I just thought that was a fun story. I believed in myself.
Right.
And I knew that I was educatable.
Yeah.
Is that a story? Is that a word?
It is right now.
It is right now. But yeah, I knew that I could learn whatever it is they were going to teach me. And I was willing to learn it. But if I'd have never gone to that interview.
Right. I used to be so scared to interview because I thought I needed to study all these things they'd put online about how you properly answer an interview question, how you say what your strengths and weaknesses are, that you always telling you wear your seatbelt, or you always have to have a follow-up question. Like, I remember I used to read all the rules and I would be like, I would study and I would practice and I would practice and I would study, and I would get so mad because my ex-husband, he was so good at interviewing. He was like, I don't know, I just went in and talked about myself. And I'm like, you didn't study the questions, and what did you find out? What did you say about this question and that question? And then they ask you this really weird one people have been asking these days. He's like, yeah, and I just answered it. And I used to get so frustrated. And then the older I got, the more confidence I built in myself. Yeah. And when I started to be able to go to interviews like that, and I was just bringing me to the table, and I was just being honest and confident,
authentic,
and authentically myself. It was not only easier to get a job, but it was easier to walk out knowing I did well on the interview, because I wasn't keeping score in my head of, they asked me the one question and I answered it just like the internet told me to, or just like that resume writing class told me to answer it. It was, we had a great conversation, because at the end of the day, when you land that job, they're not hiring the girl you put in that interview, they're hiring you. So hopefully you came in authentic and yourself, and that's probably why you got the job. Is they were looking. She knew you. You didn't know you were interviewing with her when you were trying to talk to her about getting a loan.
No.
But you were interviewing then.
Yeah.
And she learned your personality enough to say you're the right person, and you brought that same person into the interview, and that's why you got it.
Yeah.
So yeah, always remember that for interviews. Be authentically yourself, because if they hire the fake version of you that you give them, you're gonna have to be
fake.
That fake person all the time, and that's exhausting.
That is way exhausting. Always be yourself, faults and all, and also to you can understand that we all have faults, but again, this you can create what you want with your own life,
right? And
you just need to have your mind set to the correct channel,
right? And remember that you are not your past. Right. There's so much that you've learned and grown from. I think when you have a milestone birthday and you turn 20, you turn 30, you turn 40, you turn 50, those are always really great times to remember that you earned those years. You earned those gray hairs. You earned those wrinkles. You earned all of these things because you have a past. Yeah. And all of those lessons from your past has made you the better person that you are today. So you're not defined by your past. You grew through that and you learned lessons from that to make you the better person that you are today.
I love that. And then remember that you're also the one that's holding the dial. Yeah. You control which station that you're going to be listening to.
So if you don't like what you're hearing,
change the channel.
Absolutely.
So thank you for joining us today. Again, like, share, all the things.
Yeah.
Like, share, comment, and
we'll enter. And you could win our cool cup. And we'll talk about how great you are for listening to us on a future episode. And until then,
stay empowered.